There used to be a place on the highway where the parking lot held 40 trucks. The coffee was never empty, and the woman behind the counter had been cooking the same pot roast since 1958. You didn't read the menu. You sat down. She already knew. Number 6 on this list was the most ordered dinner on Route 66 for 20 straight years. Number 9 costs under $2 to make and tastes exactly the way America used to smell at 11 o'clock at night in the middle of nowhere. And number 1? Number 1 is the reason long-haul drivers made it through the night when nothing else could hold them. These meals disappeared the day a Denny's opened across the street and charged twice the price for half the food. Today, we're counting them down. The 15 forgotten truck stop dinners that kept America moving. Chicken fried steak with white gravy. This was not a steak pretending to be chicken. This was cube steak, always cube steak, pounded thin, dredged in seasoned flour, dipped in egg wash, dredged again, and dropped into a cast-iron skillet until the crust shattered when you pressed it with a fork. The whole counter smelled like pepper and hot grease. The white gravy came straight from the drippings, whole milk, black pepper, scraped from the same pan. Enough pepper to make your eyes water. Every truck stop cook from Texas to Tennessee had her own version. None of them were wrong. 49 cents a pound for cube steak in 1968. The whole plate cost under $1. Number 14. Ham steak with red-eye gravy. If you've never heard of red-eye gravy, that is a genuine gap in your education, and we are fixing it right now. A thick slice of country ham, salt-cured, smoky, seared hard in a dry skillet until both edges turned deep brown. Then the cook did the thing. She poured black coffee directly into the hot pan, scraped every bit of fond off the bottom, let it reduce into a thin, dark, intensely savory sauce, poured straight over the ham. 55 cents in 1965. Drivers in the South ordered this at midnight and called it the best cup of coffee they had ever eaten. They were not wrong. Number 13. Liver and onions. Nobody under 50 ordered this willingly. Everyone over 60 didn't look at the menu. A full slice of calf's liver dredged in flour, seared fast on a screaming flat top until just cooked through, pulled at exactly the right second before it turned to a pile of sweet caramelized onions underneath, cooked low in butter for 20 minutes, soft and golden. 59 cents a pound in 1966. Older drivers on overnight hauls swore this kept them sharper through the night. Nobody could explain why. They ordered it anyway. Number 12. Hot beef sandwich with brown gravy. Sunday's pot roast became Monday's truck stop special. Thin sliced beef laid flat on white bread, completely drowned in brown gravy thick enough to hold a spoon upright. Mashed potatoes on the same plate. A second slice of bread on the side, because you were going to need it. 65 cents in 1967. A driver who had been behind the wheel for 9 hours ordered this because it felt like someone had cooked for him. The gravy soaked into the bread soaked into everything. For 20 minutes at a counter stool, he was home. And if these forgotten meals are doing something to you, hit subscribe and ring the bell. We've got a lot more of these coming. Number 11. Pork chop with applesauce. 2 thick bone and pork chops seasoned with salt and pepper, browned hard on both sides until the fat crisped at the edges and the kitchen smelled like Sunday dinner, then finished in the oven until the meat pulled clean from the bone. A small dish of sweetened applesauce on the side. Green beans cooked long with a piece of fatback. Mashed potatoes. The whole plate. 75 cents in 1964. Midwestern truck stops served this every Tuesday, without fail. Drivers planned their routes around it. A man who ate this plate at 6 in the evening did not need to stop again until morning. That was the whole point of every meal on this list. Pure working fuel. Number 10. Beef stew with cornbread. The pot went on the stove at 7 in the morning and did not come off until the last bowl was gone. Stew beef browned in batches. Carrots, potatoes, onion, a can of tomatoes. 4 hours of simmering until the broth went thick and dark and clung to the ladle. A wedge of cornbread baked in cast iron, golden on the bottom, soft in the middle, served on the side of the bowl, still warm. 55 cents for the whole plate in 1966. By noon, the stew was perfect. By 2 in the afternoon, it was transcendent. By 4, it was gone. Drivers who pulled in at 4:15 got chili instead. They were not happy about it. Number 9. Biscuits and sausage gravy. This one could be breakfast or dinner, depending on what time you pulled in. At a truck stop, nobody cared what time it was. Thick biscuits made from scratch that morning, split and laid flat. Country sausage browned and crumbled, fat left in the pan. Flour stirred in to make a roux. Whole milk added slowly until the gravy turned thick, speckled white, and smelled like a diner at 2 in the morning in the best possible way. Poured over everything. 35 cents in 1963. Truckers called this a gut bomb. They ordered it 3 nights a week. There is no contradiction there. When you have 500 miles left and it's 2 in the morning, you need something that sticks. This stuck. Mid-video pause. Say this to camera or as a roll. Here is what nobody talks about when they talk about truck stops. Before McDonald's built the same restaurant on every exit, the truck stop was the only reliable hot meal between cities. The cook knew it. She had been feeding drivers since 1954, and she understood something the chains never figured out. A man who drives alone for 12 hours needs more than calories. He needs a booth big enough for his work jacket, coffee refilled without asking, a plate that doesn't look like it came off an assembly line. The food was part of it. The room was the rest of it. And the room is gone. Number 8. Meatloaf plate. Made on Monday morning. Sliced all week. Reheated to order on the flat top until the edges crisped and the ketchup glaze went dark. Ground beef mixed with breadcrumbs soaked in milk, egg, diced onion, a pour of Worcestershire sauce, packed into a loaf pan and baked for an hour. Mashed potatoes. Canned green beans. 59 cents in 1967. Truck stop meatloaf on Wednesday tasted better than truck stop meatloaf on Monday. 2 days in the refrigerator gave it time to figure out what it wanted to be. The drivers who knew this ordered it midweek on purpose. Most of them didn't know why it was better. They just knew it was. Number 7. Fried catfish with hush puppies. Below the Mason-Dixon line and out to East Texas, every truck stop within 30 miles of a river served this on Fridays. Catfish fillets soaked in buttermilk, dredged in seasoned cornmeal, fried until the crust crackled when you bit through it. Hush puppies dropped alongside in the same oil, crisp and golden. Hot sauce on the table, always. Lemon wedge on the plate, always. 49 cents a pound for catfish in 1965. A driver who pulled off Route 80 in Louisiana on a Friday night and found this plate, he wrote down the exit number. He always came back. Number 6. Chicken and dumplings. This is the dish that earned chicken and dumplings its reputation as the great American road meal. A whole chicken simmered in seasoned broth until the meat fell from the bone. Bones out, meat shredded back into the pot. Then spoonfuls of biscuit dough dropped in and cooked covered until they puffed up soft, pillowy, and soaked through with everything around them. 1 bowl, 55 cents in 1964. Drivers who had been on the road for 3 days ordered this because it was the closest thing to something their mother made. The dumplings were the point. Soft, warm, heavy, and exactly right. In 1965, Howard Johnson's sales exceeded McDonald's, Burger King, and KFC combined. By the early 1970s, over 1,000 locations. By 1985, gone. The chains offered the same burger in Amarillo as in Albany. The truck stop offered a cook who had been making the same pot of chicken and dumplings for 15 years and knew exactly when to pull it off the stove. Consistency won commercially. But it lost everything else. You can get the same meal at any exit today. You cannot get that cook. You cannot get that specific Tuesday stew that had been going since 7 in the morning. That Tuesday is gone. Number 5. Country fried chicken. Not fast food fried chicken. The slow kind. A whole chicken, cut into pieces, soaked in buttermilk overnight so the meat stayed moist all the way through. Dredged in heavily seasoned flour. Fried low and slow in a cast iron skillet until the crust turned deep gold and the kitchen filled with that specific smell that told you something real was happening back there. 40 minutes from start to finish. 29 cents a pound in 1965. You cannot rush country fried chicken, and the cook who tried ended up with pale crust and a pink bone. The good cooks did not rush it. Drivers who knew the schedule planned accordingly. Number 4. Pinto beans and ham hock. A pound of dried pinto beans soaked overnight. Simmered all day with a ham hock and an onion until the broth went thick and dark, and the beans dissolved at the edges into the liquid around them. Cornbread on the side. Hot sauce on the table. 45 cents in 1966. This was the cheapest plate on the menu and the most filling thing you could order. Long-haul drivers on tight per diems ordered it because it kept them full for 6 hours and left enough in the budget for pie. There was always pie. A truck stop without pie was not a truck stop. It was just a parking lot with a grill. Number 3. Pot roast with root vegetables. Monday's pot roast was the foundation of the entire week's menu. A chuck roast browned hard on all sides, bedded on carrots, potatoes, and onion, covered and braised low for 4 hours until the meat pulled into thick, yielding slabs. The braising liquid became the gravy. 65 cents in 1968. By Tuesday, the leftovers became the hot beef sandwich. By Wednesday, the remaining broth became the base for the stew. A good truck stop cook wasted nothing. One roast fed 30 people across 3 days. Every one of them thought they were getting the best thing on the menu. They were all right. Number 2. Peach cobbler. Every meal on this list ends the same way. A deep baking dish. Canned peaches, or fresh, in season, sweetened and spiced with cinnamon, topped with rough biscuit dough dropped by the spoonful, baked until the fruit bubbled through the gaps and the crust turned gold. Served warm with a scoop of vanilla ice cream that melted into the hot fruit before it even reached the counter. 25 cents a slice in 1965. Truck stop peach cobbler at 10 o'clock at night. After 9 hours on the highway, that was not a dessert. That was a reason to stop here instead of the next exit. Drivers remembered it. They came back for it specifically. Number 1. The Blue Plate Special. Every truck stop had one. It changed every day. It was always the best deal on the menu. Monday was pot roast. Tuesday was meatloaf. Wednesday was chicken and dumplings. Thursday was pork chop. Friday was catfish. 65 cents every single day in 1965. Made by a cook who had been doing it long enough that her hands knew before her brain did. Drivers who ran the same route every week sat in the same booth. Ordered without opening the menu. The cook had it up before they finished their coffee. That is not a restaurant. That is something we do not have a name for anymore. And we do not have it anymore. The last great truck stop cook retired sometime in the late 1980s. The chains moved in. The booths got smaller. The plates got lighter. And the highway that once smelled like chicken frying in cast iron at midnight now smells like every other exit in every other state. Make one of these this week. Biscuits and sausage gravy. Chicken and dumplings. Peach cobbler. Warm from the oven. Tell me in the comments which one you're making. And if you ever stopped at a truck stop you still think about, I want to know. Some of you have a specific exit number in your head right now. Drop it in the comments. Let's remember these places together. Subscribe if you're new. See you on the next one.